And I asked Congressman Jeffries about Adam Schiff as well. You talk about Ambassador Volker. He seems to undercut your entire premise on this question of Joe Biden with something he said also on Thursday. Let me put that up right here. I have known former Vice President Biden for 24 years, and the suggestion that he would be influenced in his duties as Vice President by money for his son simply has no credibility to me. I know him as a man of integrity and dedication to our country. That seems to undercut the entire premise of what you're talking about.
No, it reinforces it. Because Mr. Volker's entire testimony on Thursday said that there was no, he said we conducted ourselves in the highest professional manner, everyone involved. Mr. Volker is the special envoy to Ukraine. He knows more about this subject area than anyone. And he understood that Zelensky was different. And his whole focus was to get Zelensky and President Trump together. And he knew when they got together, they would hit it off. There would be a connection, and that in the end, the best interest of the United States and the best interest of Ukraine would be served. And throughout that process, he was very clear. And this is why it's so wrong of what Chairman Schiff is doing by not releasing the full transcript and giving you and the media the full context, and more importantly, the American people the full context, because he said throughout that process there was never any quid pro quo. And when Sondland made his statement, George, the EU ambassador, Ambassador Sondland, made his statement, where he said, it's crystal clear, Bill, there is no quid pro quo of any kind. When he made that text message, you guys you never highlight that one. When he made that, you know what Ambassador Volker told us about that text message? He said, we knew that was the truth, and he was speaking for us all, and that had been the case throughout the negotiations.
Ambassador Volker also said quite clearly right there he believes Joe Biden is a man of integrity, did not do anything wrong. You know, what I'm saying is, if you believe him there, then believe him with what he said throughout the entire 7 hours that he testified. And if Adam Schiff would release that, you would see that's the case. We've asked him to release it. I have to go back to this because you still haven't answered the threshold question. Was it right for President Trump to ask China to investigate Joe Biden? Why can't you say yes or no? Because I'm telling you what he said. I think his point was highlighting that when you're the President of the United States and you see something like this happen, China, he knows, is not going to investigate. He's just pointing out to the American people what they all think about it. Not to believe what we see with our own eyes, right there. You're telling me the guy who's been tougher on China really thinks that's going to happen? It's not going to happen. He is highlighting what I think so many. Whether or not it's going to happen, he's asking for it to happen. Let me ask you this. He's asking for it to happen. Let me ask you this. It is clear. Why did Hunter Biden get the special deal with Burisma in Ukraine? Why? Because he was an expert in Ukraine? Because he was an expert in energy? You're throwing out the. Why did Hunter Biden get the special deal that he got in China? He didn't. The president is pointing out what so many Americans see. That looks unfair. That looks like something smells about that. So you're throwing out the charges that have been discredited about the Biden. No, I'm not throwing out any charges. I'm not throwing out any charges. You're not answering the question. Is it right for the president to ask the Chinese to investigate? George, first of all, I'm not throwing out any charges. I'm just asking. You just did. No, I'm not. I'm asking the fundamental question. Why did Hunter Biden get the deal? Why? I don't know the answer to that question. Well, no, I know that he's been investigated by the Ukrainians and they found no wrongdoing. I know that for a fact. You know what Ambassador Volker told us about the company that hired Mr. Biden's son? He said they had a long history of corruption. Again, we can't see that. We can't read that because Adam Schiff won't release the transcript. So all the president's doing is highlighting what so many Americans kind of wonder about. Yeah. Why did the vice president's son get that deal with Ukraine, Burisma, the energy company, and why did he get that deal? That's all he's doing. But your only defense to what Democrats have said is an abuse of power. The president asking China to investigate the Bidens is that the president was joking, and we shouldn't take the president at his word. We shouldn't believe what we're seeing with our own eyes. I'm talking about common sense. I'm talking about common sense. Do you really think President Trump believes China is going to investigate? I believe he asked them to investigate. To highlight and underscore a question that's on the minds of so many Americans, George. So why did Hunter Biden, why did the vice president's son suddenly get these deals? We've been going 10 minutes. You still can't say whether you think it's right or wrong. Well, I don't think it's going to happen. That's why I mean, I just don't think that's what the president was really saying. Congressman, thanks for